There's never been a more interesting time to be in the media industry than right now. The pace of technological change and the shifting consumption patterns are making this a tremendously dynamic period in our history. Within this context, advertisers are taking more control of their media, agencies are developing more innovative solutions to reach target audiences, and trade bodies are working hard to provide best practices across our industry. As guardians of our industry, trade bodies play an enormously important role. They provide best practices and a set of toolkits that empower us all to work more effectively together. In 2016, the Association of National Advertisers tackled a very important topic in our industry, media transparency. And they released a landmark study in the summer of 2016 that really became a wake-up call for our industry. It forced all participants to step back and look at the ecosystem through a new lens. Over the past 5 years, the Association of National Advertisers has done a tremendous amount of work keeping the important issues of media transparency front and center. And they continue to tackle those vexing issues head on. To mark the 5-year anniversary of the ANA Media Transparency Report, we spoke with a number of industry leaders to hear more about how they adapted to changes that were initiated by the report, how they took steps to actually follow through on the protocols and recommendations that were part of that report, and to hear a little bit about their ambitions as we look ahead.
When the transparency study came out, the timing was actually interesting.
So when the ANA K2 report came out, the first thing was everyone wanted to get their hands on it, read it, digest it. It was hitting all the trades.
So it sparked a conversation that really plumbed the line of what I think historically, those of us who had been in the business for a long time saw as the fiduciary responsibility of the agency with regard to how it invested the client's money. And that went from an implicit understanding to a very explicit understanding.
Besides, it sort of bringing things to the foray, it did cause advertisers to look more closely at their contracts and sort of ask a lot of questions that they hadn't asked before about the way the agency's business had changed. Because I think a number of advertisers hadn't looked at their contract for 5 or 10 years.
And when that change in that relationship became better understood, the essence of the dialogue also changed.
The ANA immediately picked this up as an issue, and Bob Leodis and his leadership team, Bill Duggan, they kept this front and center for a couple of years.
It prompted a lot of questions that probably needed to be asked all along, but because it became so much more prevalent to have more transparency and accountability, I think that still exists today. But it prompted conversations that began then and are ongoing and are necessary even now.
The landscape is constantly changing. So, advertisers really have to stay on top of the issues in the industry.
The ANA really did, yeoman-like service to the industry by ensuring people understood what the conversation parameters were, providing frameworks, providing essential tools and resources, and even in some cases providing consultancy, like for example, the contract template.
The lasting impact, I think, that the transparency report, maybe it kicked off, was the need for these conversations and this accountability to absolutely be in the contract that you have between marketer and agency, but really it's more expansive than that.
It did the right thing out of the gate, and that was to shine the light on a topic that was being discussed and starting to plague the agency. It was a very big, gigantic step forward.
Our goal is to optimize marketers' investment spending, because when brands succeed, everyone succeeds. Money flows throughout the supply chain. But if we are sub-optimizing brands' ability to succeed, then we are sub-optimizing the beneficiaries of where all of that investment should be going.